Yeah, what's going on? Today we're doing a little bit of a review over Yunjin, how she is at C0, free to play, whether or not you can kind of pick her up at the Leeway event over the other 4 stars, and how she kind of works in different type of team comps. First thing I'll say is that her counter is pretty nice. It is weaker than Beto's, but a lot easier to play than Beto's. I was for Beto, she has things like VV and things like that. Yeah, you have to wait for enemy to hit you, but the damage potential of it is definitely higher than Yunjin's from what I've seen so far. We'll also look into her builds, but TLDR is going to be defense, geo defense, or defense, geo crit. Both of them were very similar in stats. We messed around with the Lithic there, that's what you saw, just to see if we can, boost her, crit rate some more, as well as some attack for her ult. But personally, I found that I didn't like the Lithic, so I switched over to Deathmatch because at least it buffs both attack and defense. But since you're most likely going to use her as a sub DPS, keep in mind that Deathmatch doesn't work off field, so the passive is kind of useless for her shield. It also depends if you have enough energy in your substats. If you don't have enough energy in her substats to kind of get her burst, as you saw, like she's an 80 cost burst character, takes a lot of energy. If you don't have enough energy, then I would say one of her best weapons is going to be Fav Lance. As you can see, you can hit pretty hard, but keep in mind this is C6 Goro, so she normal. I'll show definitely without Goro, or how much it would be. It's usually around like 17k or 22, 20, around those kind of things, depending on how many stacks you have if you're using Husk. But if you have non C6 Goro, I would say around 25 with the extra defense that he gives. 25k for counters is what you can kind of expect for her. One thing I would say about her ult is it's pretty nice. You do want to get it up. As you can see, it's pretty tanky, especially if you have a double geo comp. So I would say if you're going to run her, she definitely, most geo characters do want double geo comps, but in a Yoimiya comp, this is kind of a comp I would recommend, assuming you have both of those characters. As you can see, the interruption resistance is pretty good, and the damage bonus given to you by having 3 different elements is pretty nice. As well as when you see, in comparison to Zhongli's Shield Shred, that gives you around 35k, it's actually quite a bit of a better damage bonus than that. So you kind of still, if you don't have Zhongli and you're not able to get Zhongli, her and Goro together actually fit pretty nicely in your Yoimiya team comps. Plus Jincho's range swords, their damage reduction done by that, plus Goro's his 2 geo interruption resistance plus her shield altogether is definitely tanky enough. As you can see, I can take a bit of damage, as well as outputting a bit more damage than with Zhongli because of her passive. So personally, for me, I like for Yoimiya comps, it's definitely cool. Even at C0, it's pretty nice. If you need your Zhongli in another team, maybe you have a Zhao team because you were getting Yunjin from the Zhao banner instead, and you need Zhongli there. Yeah, I would say that it's pretty cool to have these 2 characters, but do remember that these characters are defense scalers, so they want to go all the way up to 90. As you can see, the kind of the benefits of Goro. But they want to go up to 90, and they work best when they have constellations, particularly C2 and C4 for Goro. And for Yunjin, C0 works. But at the end of the day, of course, she scales really well with constellations. Yoimiya gets, so that's C0 boosting, so that's up to 37k. So definitely a bit stronger than Zhongli's Shred only. But VV would probably still be stronger than Yunjin, so you could kind of just replace Yunjin with maybe a Sucrose and a Diona. But at the same time, and you probably have you have a healer as well. So personally, it's not really like she's gonna be the optimal person to play with Yoimiya. Like, you need to build her right away. But she is a little more flexible than I initially thought. Even in geocomps, and I know her passive wants more people than, even in her constellation, you see that she wants to do crystallization, so you're like, oh, how is she going to be good in geocomps? But from testing out a couple different geocomps, I've seen that she's still going to, like, let's say for Ito, pre C2 Ito is gonna normal attack, so he does get a bit of a good benefit from it, and he can get his stacks up faster with C6 from Yunjin. So it does work in a triple geocomps with someone to at least give some type of application. So what I would say, would I recommend building Yunjin? C0, no, nor would I recommend to pick her up from the Leeway event unless you genuinely love her a lot. She does cost a lot of energy to get her burst off of cooldown, as well as her, you don't have to worry about this one, but her counter damage here, but the counter damage I showed is not that good either. Her best in slots set is not that good. It's not that good to farm unless you have Ito and Albedo and other characters, or Noel, because it's not going to be resin efficient either. There's a lot of caveats to building Yunjin, and personally, I would say that if you're free to play, heck no, unless you got really lucky for some reason and got a lot of Yunjins. But I would, other than that, I would say no. But she is nice. I love her design. She's fun to counter with, and yeah. But unless you have her at C6 or highly constellated, I don't see it as an expensive unit that I don't yet see the benefit for. Not that there will be a benefit, not be a benefit for her in the future, but if that's the case, then why don't you just pull her then instead of now? So unless you really like her, but if you do, hey, go ahead. But well, thanks for watching.